So we need to talk about this movie, The Substance. I went and saw this in theaters yesterday, guys, and the body horror here is off the scale. Demi Moore did an absolutely fantastic performance here, giving birth to her perfect version of herself, her clone, in this movie. I literally, after I came out of this movie, I needed to kind of decompress for half an hour. I literally don't know what I just saw. I don't know what I witnessed. And there's not many times where I come out of a movie speechless, and I'm kind of just like, the body horror in this movie is something that I don't think I've actually experienced before. It's kind of crazy. So I implore you guys, if you're a horror fan, you must see this film this year. It's one of the must-see horror films. One of the best films I've seen in a long time. I recommend it. We're going to jump into this article, break it down, explain it, and kind of have a discussion about what's going on with this movie. It is an open spoiler discussion, so if you haven't seen the movie, go watch the movie and come back to this video after, guys. But we need to break this down. We have to talk about this because it's just, wow, what did I just watch? So, The Substance spoilers. Find out why Demi Moore's new horror satire is causing audiences to walk out. Obviously, from time to time, when different companies are marketing horror films, they use the whole audiences walk out as a kind of a marketing ploy. Oh, look how scary our film is. But when it comes to this movie, for the first time, I actually believe that audiences probably did walk out of this movie because the gore, the body horror, just like the blood, the kind of the grotesqueness of it would cause people to walk out. I completely understand why someone would walk out of this movie if they had no idea what they were walking into. So let's go down and let's try and break this down a little bit here, guys. So, revenge director Coralie Fargi, I think that's how you say the name. New body horror satire, The Substance, is now in theaters, and it is most definitely not for the squeamish. I second that wholeheartedly. The movie, particularly in the last 30 minutes or so, contains some of the most extreme gore we've seen in quite some time. And there's been reports of audiences walking out before the end. So, to talk about the end, I'm going to talk about it without context for just a second. I'll go through the rest of the explanation of the movie in just a sec. But at the end, there's basically this grotesque monster kind of person on a stage. And the parts of the body start breaking and blood is splurting all over the audience from the disfigured body of this person. And just that description alone, like, it's giving me flashbacks as to what I watched. So you got a really badly disfigured person on stage. Their body parts are falling off, and the blood is splurting out of those body parts, and it's going all over the crowd. It's just like, and yeah, like what are we even doing anymore? Like, sometimes I wonder. So, the basic outline, if you want the gory details, spoilers will follow. Again, open spoiler discussion here, guys. Just remember that. So, Demi Moore's character, Elizabeth Sparkle, makes use of a secret cloning procedure and the titular substance to produce a younger, more perfect version of herself, called Sue, played by Margaret Qualley. How is this accomplished? Well, Miss Sparkle births her clone through her back in a sequence that's every bit as surreal and squirm-inducing as it sounds. So, Miss Sparkle, which is the older version who wants, the older version of herself, she's laying on the bathroom floor. Her back literally rips open and her perfect clone version of herself crawls out of her back as her kind of skin in her back opens up. This whole other human being climbs out the back of her. And it's just like, what the fuck am I watching right now? What is going on? Obviously, in real life, it would be no way possible. If someone, like, number one, you couldn't fit a human inside another human. A full-size human inside another human. There's no space for that. Number two, if your back opened up, your spine would snap in half, so it just wouldn't work. Obviously, it's completely unfeasible. But to have a human being climb out the back of another human being, seeing that realized on screen, you're kind of watching it and your brain's just going, nope, this isn't happening. This isn't happening. So essentially, two halves of the same person, Elizabeth and Sue, soon become rivals. So again, Elizabeth is the older version and Sue is the perfect version of her. They soon become rivals and end up breaking the week on, week off rule. So yeah, once she gives birth to her clone crawls out of her back, and basically the rule of the movie is, the MacGuffin, you can only spend 1 week as your perfect version of yourself, then the perfect version of herself has to then turn back to the normal version. And if you don't do that, then obviously consequences ensue. So Sue, the perfect version, decides not to wake her older version up and continues to extract serum from the body needed to maintain her survival. So Elizabeth, the older version, begins to age rapidly, ultimately becoming a decrepit husk. When the serum dries up, Sue, the perfect version, begins to fall apart literally and is forced to wake up her older self, resulting in a brutal fight. So you've got the perfect version, the clone, and you've got the regular normal version. They both are awake at the same time because they broke the 7-day rule of being on and off from perfect to normal. So towards the end of the film, the clone version, which is the perfect version, and the older version, they both wake up at the same time and they begin to fight each other. And yeah, it's kind of crazy having a clone kind of fighting herself, the perfect version fighting herself. Sue, the clone, is able to kill her older self, but without the serum, she takes a drastic measure of injecting the once-use only activator. So at the beginning of the movie, the older version, she has to inject herself with an activator to start the cloning process, and you're not supposed to use it more than once. You're only allowed to use the activator once. But Sue, the clone version, then gets hold of the activator, feels like she wants to inject it, which she does. This creates a grotesque Ellie Sue hybrid who makes her way to a studio and eventually disintegrates in a jaw-dropping bloodbath, which is what I was talking about. So the perfect version, the clone, at the end of the movie, injects the activator into herself, which is a no-go. She shouldn't have done that. She turns into a grotesque husk of a monster. She's on stage performing at a New Year kind of gala, and then her body parts fall off and she sprays blood all over the audience. So it's kind of crazy, guys. I do apologize if the description or the breakdown of what's going on here is a bit confusing. It is a bit hard to explain without seeing the movie for yourself. That's why I employ you to go and watch the movie for yourself. But I do have a little picture here which I created. So I'm going to go through this Oscar-winning art piece here. And I'm just going to explain it again, guys, just in case you didn't understand. Let's just try and make this easier. So we start off with Sparkle, which is the normal version. So he uses the substance activator. That starts the cloning process. So then Sparkle, which is the name of Demi Moore's character, gives birth to the perfect version of herself, which is Sue. Sparkle and Sue must then switch between the old and perfect self every 7 days. And they do this by doing a blood transfusion at the end of the 7-day period. So Sparkle, the normal version, she's asleep, while Sue, the perfect version, is awake. And then after 7 days, Sue then has to do a blood transfusion with her older self to switch back to her older self. If she doesn't do the blood transfusion at the end of the 7 days, then bad things start to happen. So Sue maintains herself with liquid from Sparkle. So Sue, the clone version, she has to maintain herself by extracting liquid from the older version of herself while she's asleep. So Sue, the perfect version, is late to switch back, so she takes longer than 7 days to switch back, which results in her older self, while asleep, beginning to get disfigured. Sue, the perfect version, then refuses to switch back for a longer period of time, turning her original version of herself, which is asleep, into a disfigured monster. Then Sparkle wakes up. Sue and Sparkle, the clone and the normal version, they end up having a fight. The perfect version, Sue, kills her older self. Then Sue basically turns into the grotesque monster by injecting herself with the activator, which she shouldn't have done. Then Sue's on stage, she turns into a monster and her body parts fall off and she sprays blood all over the audience, which is kind of crazy. So I hope this has cleared up a little bit more, guys, but let's go back to the article here. So we do have a X post here. So in a second, let's jump into this X post and let's see what audiences had to say. But let's have a quick read of the synopsis here. Have you dreamed of a better version of yourself? You should try this new product, the Substance. It changed my life. With the Substance, you can generate another version of yourself. Younger, more beautiful, more perfect. Just share the time. 1 week for one, 1 week for the other. A perfect balance of 7 days. Easy, isn't it? If you follow the instructions, what could go wrong? So remember, while the perfect version is awake, the older version has to be asleep, and then they do they swap at the end of every 7 days. So let's go over to this X post here. Let's go down and let's read some of the comments on this movie from people. So, one of the most disgusting films I've ever seen. Not a fan of body horror, to be honest. I haven't been to a movie where the audience, including myself, were so vocal about what was happening. We laughed, gagged, oh my god, that's a lot. Yeah, when I came out of the movie theater, there was this lady who turned around to me and she was like, what did I just watch? She's like, I can't believe what I just saw. And there was people that didn't even know each other who came out of my cinema screening, and they were literally talking to each other and looking at each other with shock. Like, what did we just watch? Like, we have no idea what just happened. But, yeah, man, definitely shocking. There was at least one moment I had to actually look away, and I can handle the terrifying movies fine. And one that made me want to gag, some incredible effects. Yeah, I think the difference is here with body horror. Body horror pushes the grotesqueness into a whole different reason, a whole different kind of stratosphere. And the kind of movie that is built around kind of a woman basically trying to enhance her looks, but ultimately becomes a monster. And that makes it all the more worse. No exaggeration, this is what I looked like for probably the last hour. Seriously, especially the last 30 minutes, the recliner seat was full forward with my hands on my face. Go for it. It's crazy, twisted good. One of the craziest movies I've ever watched in a good way. This might be my favorite teaser. I'm a major fan of movies that make people squeamish, and this one did, in fact, make me squirm in my seat. It was kind of hilarious. Nobody's seen it. Let me keep going down. This movie was the definition of horror fun. I'm not sure if fun is the right word I would use. It's just gross. Somebody threw up in my theater. The cleaning crew came mid-movie. Not really, but it's good still. Let's read a few more here. It was amazing. Demi and Margaret gave everything in this a relentless, crazy film. Pure gonzo cinema. Help, I thought I would look as chill as everyone else. I'm sorry. Crazy ass, twisted, gory, scary, thought-provoking, mind-bending. Long movie, but I think that adds to the mind-blowing experience. I watch a lot of crazy, scary horror. This movie blew me away. Demi is amazing. See it. Wear a mind seatbelt. Brilliant. And I think that's kind of where we are there, guys. There's not much else to dive into here. So, yeah. Birthing a cloned version of yourself through your back and then having to switch between you and her every 7 days. And if you don't, it turns you into a disfigured monster where you ultimately blow up and you spray people with blood from your disfigured body parts. So that kind of breaks it down into a thumbnail there, guys, at the end. I know we've gone through the explanation now ad nauseum, but like I said, it's a little bit complicated to explain. Just trust me, guys, if you do not understand what I've been saying and I haven't explained it very well, please just go and watch the movie. It's worth supporting. It's really grotesque. It's really kind of vile, but it's kind of fun, and it's a great movie. The effects are incredible. Demi Moore's performance is off the scale. I'm not surprised if she wins some sort of award for this movie. But like I said, please do go and watch it if you're a horror fan. I think you will really enjoy it. So guys, I throw it off to you. What do you think about this movie? You know, basically what I've explained. What do you think about the people's reactions here on social media? And what do you think about this movie in general? Is it something you're going to be run out to be seeing? Or is it something you're going to avoid because you can't deal with body horror? Whatever your thoughts are, guys, jump down into the comment section and let me know. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe before you leave, and I will see you in the next one.